Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Inside the Birds TV, presented, of course, by our friends at Sky Motor Cars. I'm Jeff Mosher alongside Adam Kaplan, and joining us today, we are really excited to have Eagles rookie linebacker Nakobe Dean. Nakobe, thanks so much for joining us. It's good to see you, man.
Definitely. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, we want to say, Adam and I, we want to extend our condolences. We know there was a loss in the Georgia football family of Devin and Chandler. Not sure, how close you were, but I know Georgia football, like most college football teams, is a family. So,
Right.
Condolences for the loss of your family members.
I appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, thanks for joining us today. Let's start out. What a whirlwind season, right? I mean, you win a national championship, you get drafted by the Eagles, and lo and behold, you go to a team that finishes 14-3, top seed in the NFC East. You don't lose, man. You're always on good teams. This must be like one great culture to another. What's that been like?
It's been great. It's been great just being in the league, living out the dream, living out the dream of being in the league. But now you want to be the best you can be in the league. And that goes with trying to win every game that you can play. So it's just been a great learning experience, just being with this team and working every day in and out with this team.
Nakobe and Jeff was talking about, quite the whirlwind. When we go back to the combine and then your pro day and OTAs and all that, we know your career. You've been a guy who's been a starter. Now here you're not starting. So what's the transition been like to have that mindset, and how do you prepare for that each week?
Right. It's just been staying ready. Focus on yourself as much as what you can do for the team to help us win, basically. And just making sure that whatever you do, you just continue to get better day in and day out. No matter what you do, no matter what it is, one thing at a time, just continue to get better for I can just be the best I can be.
Is that hard? Is that hard for someone who is used to starting, used to racking up the tackles, used to hearing your name called, like to have to come in to a situation like this and sort of wait your turn?
Well, of course you want to play. It don't go with making the tackle, rack it up. It's just you want to play ball. You love it. You can do it. You can do it at the highest level it is. You just want to play. So, but of course, it was a learning curve as far as just being on special teams all the time. I mean, I did it in college, but doing it full time here. But as the season went on, of course, you just wanted to do whatever was best for the team to have us get to where we are, and continue to try to spread some of your leadership qualities throughout the special team.
Tell us about this team, Nakobe. It's a very together team. Adam and I covered the 2017 Super Bowl team, so we knew that was a very tight-knit group. And it was special, by the end of the year after losing Carson Wentz, the quarterback, they had this mantra, we all we got, we all we need. Dreams and nightmares, Meek Mill. There was just something that brought that whole team together in a special way. What brings this team together, and what stands out about this year's Eagles team?
I feel like the connection piece, just like you said, the connection piece. Before I got to the league, I always heard that you probably won't find another tight-knit group than what I had experienced in high school or college, but we have been tight-knit from jump, and that just speaks volumes to the coaches, Coach Sirianni, preaching connection, and the vets on this team pushing for us to connect and everybody get to know each other.
Nakobe, has there been a difference between the scheme at Georgia and this scheme in terms of your role and how you had to learn from going from that scheme to this one?
Oh, as far as the scheme, I mean, it's different ball, but coverages is coverages. At Georgia when I was there, we did a lot of man and fire zone and things like that, and college, and we blitzed a lot too.
What's the biggest difference? We talk with Jason Avant, former Eagles wide receiver, a lot, and he said coming from Michigan, a big program where he played, there are some things in college that are actually more resourceful than the NFL. He said, there are things he had to get used to because it was such a big program. Is that the same coming from Georgia, national championship, Georgia, all the resources you have? Is there any culture shock going into the NFL for you?
I mean, Yeah, Georgia is definitely resourceful because a lot of times you just a student and they pushing you to be more. I mean, you a student athlete, they pushing you to be more than just an athlete. They
Right.
push you to get ready for your career outside of ball and just your career outside of college. So of course it's more resourceful in college, and then when you get to the league, it's more so okay, football, football, football. And I mean, you can find other things that can help you resource out too. But as far as the adjustment, for me, everything I have not needed or wanted has been, met, so to speak, here. So I can't complain.
When you were getting ready, Nakobe, for the draft, did you kind of lean on some of the former Georgia players who are already in the NFL? How did you kind of get the word about what things would be like?
Well, yeah, I asked a couple of guys. My circumstance was a little bit I wouldn't say unusual because there's a lot of guys that get hurt.
In general, as a rookie, what's the biggest takeaway been after the regular season as a rookie?
As a rookie, I feel like my biggest takeaway has been off the field, the different defensive minds, the different way people think about ball, and on offense, how the details and how what different coaches emphasize when it comes to certain things. One coach might emphasize certain details with your first step. Other coaches might emphasize certain details with how far the receiver is lined up off the hash. So it's little different things like that you kind of honing in. You honing in on all the little small details.
Nakobe, when we've had former players on, for guys that are coming out of college and coming to the pros, they would kind of talk about the practice schedule being different and how they were actually harder in college, or at least longer. Did you find that the same way here? How do you find the Eagles practice compared to Georgia?
Yeah, 100% easier. Yeah.
How so?
Well, Georgia, we was in pass all season, and we went from to all the way to just like national championship went on with January the 11th. So we was in pass all season. We was banging each other all season. Practices were of course longer. They were a little bit way more physical because you got all the pass on. So it was like you got here, it's a lot more thinking. Of course, the intensity is still the same as far as between the ball snaps. So, but it was way more easier in college. I mean, in the league because the practice is hard in college.
Sure.
Physically, mentally, they about the same.
So how would you compare playing for Kirby, who we're all sort of getting more insight into, they're showing locker room videos and pregame videos, to Nick, who can also look one way in a press conference, but then in the heat of the game could look a totally different way. We see him get real fired up. How would you compare these guys?
Yeah, well, Coach Mark he kind of always like a rah-rah guy. Not saying it in a bad way, but he always kind of high intensity with everything he do, no matter what, no matter if it's Monday morning and we had a workout. So and then Coach Sirianni, he definitely got to bring the intensity and the player coach mentality to the table, which makes us like him way just that more, much more.
Interesting. So when we look at you mentioned Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon coaches you. The linebacker coaches, I think, is Nick Rollis working with you? I know he's a younger guy.
Yeah, Rollis.
He's a young guy. What's it like to be coached by a guy who's in his 20s? It's kind of rare in this business.
Well, when I was in college, I think my coach was, I think he was late 20s when I first got there. So it wasn't too different. The only thing different maybe because we in the league and they kind of look at us like all grown men. And it's different in college when you first start off. It's like you probably not looked at as a grown man. You still looked at as I won't say kid, but like younger, so to speak. So it's like I remember the first time I got there, he was like, "You don't have to call me coach, just call me Nick." And they kind of weird, so I just still kind of coach.
Oh, that's great. We're talking, of course, with the Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean, brought to us by Sky Motor Cars. As always, we thank Sky Motor Cars for helping out. Speaking of Coach Rollis, does he ever talk about his brother is a professional wrestler, right, in WWE? Has he ever said and mentioned that to you guys?
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never did. Now I gotta.
You should Google it.
Now I gotta say something.
Yeah.
How about that?
So tell us about Jonathan Gannon. He's obviously up for some head coaching interviews. He's done some. He did last year also. What stands out about Jonathan Gannon in your mind?
For me is he gonna call what he call. You know, no matter what nobody feel about it. He gonna trust the players to do the right call. I mean, that's not when it comes to scheming on other teams. Of course, we're gonna scheme and everything, but at the end of the day, he feels like certain calls should be, as long as we execute the right way, should work.
So let me follow up on that. It sounds like you can tell, because you said that Jonathan Gannon's going to call his game. Doesn't matter what people say. It sounds like you can tell that Philly is very tough on its defensive coordinators. This is a city that's kind of used to, the Reggie Browns, the Brian Dawkinses, the Seth Joyners, legends of the game back in the 80s and 90s who were known for being bloodthirsty and blitzing and all that. And obviously Jonathan Gannon is not a heavy blitz coordinator. Can you sense that though from the Eagles fans that they are intense about their defensive play and players?
Me personally, I don't know, because I don't really kind of look into the media so much so, but I hear a couple guys who be saying certain stuff about what they read. Well, at first anyway, at first when I got here before the season even started, but I during the season, no, none at all. You know, JG just called his game and we play it.
Nakobe, when we look at TJ Edwards, here's a guy who was a former undrafted free agent having some sort of a breakout season. Give us a little bit of an overview of what you see when you watch him play.
I see a leader. You know, I see a leader. I see a playmaker on that field who can play at the highest level, at elite level, at the highest level. You know, every time he step out there, he's making the calls and he's getting everybody lined up. You know, and of course I've learned a lot from him throughout this season.
How about Jordan Davis, your teammate from Georgia, a rookie as well, had an injury kind of midway through the season. What's it been like for him? Do you guys lean on each other?
Yeah.
How has he managed this rookie season?
Yeah, we definitely lean on each other. You know, we definitely lean on each other. We've been going through it together. Every up, every down, every moment that we feel like we need to talk to each other, we call each other. You know. So it's like anytime we feel like we're alone, we gotta remember that we're not. You know, we can be able to talk to each other and get through whatever we going through. And that's not only in football, but it's outside of football. Probably more outside of football than on the field.
Sure.
So you guys had a bye week last week. What was the kind of schedule like for you, and how did that go?
Well, we practiced throughout the week. Practiced throughout the week till Friday. And then he gave us the weekend off. And then today it was gonna matter who won yesterday. If the Vikings won, we had to come in tomorrow. Today, but the Giants won, so we don't have to come in today.
What was last week like, Nakobe? You guys had qualified for the playoffs, got the top seed. Was there an intensity at practice, or was there a different feeling at the NovaCare complex now that you guys were in the playoffs? Was anything turned up a little bit differently than maybe the prior weeks?
Well, I mean, practice is practice. You know, I feel like every week we went out and we practiced with a certain level of intensity, and when we didn't, of course, it was said. You know, Coach Sirianni didn't hold his tongue at all. So I feel like we did get better. We worked on ourselves this past week. And we had a day pads in there, so yeah, we definitely got each other better this past week.
Nakobe, one question about your career. We know you were a really good blitzer in college. What were your high school years like? Did you always just play linebacker, or did you play other position?
I played mostly inside linebacker, of course, but the first 2 years I played like a outside linebacker nickel. Then the last two, I put on a little bit more weight and moved me to inside. And then, of course, I played a little offense, whatever they needed me to play.
So give us an early scouting report of this Giants team. It almost seems like the last game of the year doesn't count as much. They didn't play their starters. The first game was a very lopsided game, but they had a lot of injuries. What are you expecting? What are you guys going through as a defense about this Giants offense that you're going to see on the weekend?
Right. Well, like you said, we play them twice. So, of course, you say they didn't play their stars last week, but it's the same offense. It's not too much. It's different.
Right.
But we probably, of course, it's the playoffs, so we probably could be expecting them to make some more adjustments. They have been able to see us twice. We've been able to see them twice, so of course they should make some adjustments. We'll make adjustments. But to be honest, I don't think they'll probably make too many adjustments because they're gonna play their game. When I feel like they're gonna play their game, and Coach JG gonna come out and call our game too.
One thing, Nakobe, on playing on an NFL season compared to Georgia, how do you feel physically now that you've gone through your first season?
Oh, thank God, I feel good. I feel good. Yeah, like I said, at Georgia, ain't gonna lie, it was mostly the practices that made us hurt more than the games. It was always the practices. It was never. It was. I mean, the games were the games, but those were the fun days because practice was just a grind. Practice was just a grind. We was always banging each other, and I feel like going against each other was worse than going against other teams. So, yeah, and my body actually feels good. I don't feel like I hit a rookie wall. Of course, winning helps, but we played till about January 11th last year, so I'm only like 4 or 5 days past that. So
Definitely. All right, we'll finish this off. Tell us a little about yourself, Nakobe. Something we don't know about you. Like, if you weren't playing football, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm actually in school now. Got it. I'm trying to finish my engineering degree. I wanted to design and build prosthetics with that.
Nice.
And yeah, and I'm also trying to get into businesses. I'm trying to invest in a couple things. I have invested in a couple things, so trying to get into that. But yeah, that's probably what I'd be doing.
We'll have to get some investment tips from Nakobe after the show here. You said prosthetics. Is that anything? Is there a reason why specifically that?
Well, yeah, my mama, my mother is a retired veteran, and she used to take me to the VA all the time. So when I was young, I used to see war vets, so people with missing limbs and things like that. So it was it kind of was always stuck in the back of my mind when I was going through high school and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Sure. And I feel like designing prosthetics or braces. Even I didn't want to do prosthetics. I just do different sports braces and things like that I can try to just design and kind of build. And yeah.
All right, last question. We'll finish it off with this. How hard was it to choose between the amazing selection of cars at Sky Motor Cars? Which one was going to be the right one for you? We asked this to everybody. It's tough.
It was definitely hard. They had an amazing inventory of cars. I think I was in there for about 30, 45 minutes to an hour trying to pick out what I wanted, what car I wanted. And the staff was great help, but I feel like I wanted something cool, laid back. Yeah, so that kind of drew me to the Audi.
Nice. Very nice. That's a good ride right there. So listen, this has been a good ride. We really thank you for joining us. Good luck in the playoffs. We didn't really ask it, but I mean, you're going to experience for the first time playoff football at the Link, which if you thought regular season, primetime football at the Link was pretty fun, those games you guys played, wait till you see what the crowd is like for playoff football, especially against an NFC opponent. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. Definitely. It's going to feel a little bit like Georgia, Florida almost. It's going to be great.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So for Nakobe Dean, Adam Kaplan, I'm Jeff Mosher. Thanks you all for watching Inside the Birds TV, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars.